there's a vigilante / terrorist group, depending on who you ask, called Anonymous. And Anonymous are these people that will literally go and like, they just released a bunch of things about Trump and some other guy who went to jail for like a rape thing. I don't know. But like, that's just the most recent thing. They go and they hack you. They hack all this information and they say, hey, we're going to release this if you don't do X, Y, and Z. If you don't stop doing this, blah, blah, blah. Like they were in a standoff with, I think, the cartel in Mexico because an anonymous member got stolen or kidnapped. And then like Anonymous would be like, hey, like if we're going to release the names of the people in the cartel, if you don't, release him or blah, blah, blah. And the cartel's like, well, we'll kill this many people. Crazy shit like that, right?
Right.
Well, those people are quote unquote vigilantes, like modern day Batman in some people's eyes. But there's also other people out there that it's not hard to hack. It's not hard to figure out like who you've been texting, what have you been doing, where have you been? Like just monitoring. Like I share my location.
Women are the best. Women are the best at doing that. Women are the best at doing that.
Shit, crazy.
Not saying my wife is, but women. But I've heard some stories.
All women except your wife, though.
I literally like all this shit. Like you always hear about athletes and the Earl Thomas thing. Like Jesus Christ, Earl. But like you hear like shit like that. It's like I give my wife my location. I was like, hey, here's my location.
Yeah.
So the boy's not fucking up.
Right.
Just to make sure. But like a long-winded going back to it, it's kind of crazy. Like this shit's up there.
Yeah.
And you can't just be like, well, I put my social security number in there. I put my credit cards up there. I put this and that up there, like all in this cloud to register my fingerprints, my eyes, all that. Like if that got in the hands of somebody wrong, like shit could get super fucked up.
Right.
And like, especially with 2020, if you look back and I'm literally like, Will and I talk about this all the time, like conspiracy stuff, right? Like, I don't necessarily believe any of this, but at the same time, it's crazy. Like if you look back at the last 10, 15 elections, there's always been something that comes up. Like there's always been some sort of disease or some crazy shit.
100%.
And 2020 is just it's wild. It is wild. It's three things. It was COVID, the Hornets, that it was kind of a bust. Remember the murder hornets?
The murder hornets.
The murder hornets that are coming now. All of a sudden, they're coming across North America. He said no. Now George Floyd, which like is a super like inequality in America is a huge issue. And as a rich white straight man, I have no area to.
You're rich.
No question. I mean, if you play, if
2020's been a year. 2020's been a year.
It's been a bit of a deal. It's been crazy.
I agree.
But like if you play in the NFL, you're part of the 1%. That's just kind of the gig, right?
No, I agree.
So you are rich. Everyone who plays in the NFL is technically rich. And it's like this shit is just crazy. Like who's to say that the government is not manipulating a bunch of this stuff? Like did you see and like there's
pandemic? Are you talking about pandemic?
Pandemic? I'm talking about everything.
Pandemic.
Yeah, yes. It's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm not taking a stance. It's wild when you start to see all these things kind of going. You're like, it's becoming a little too coincidental.
It's like the Born Identities, those type of movies, any type of what's it called? Homeland Security stuff, movies. Yeah. Like it's like Eagle Eye. Those things. Yeah, Eagle Eye. Those things are coming to life. Like these things are. I mean, maybe they've already had life. They're coming to light. Not coming to life, just coming to light. Yeah. Like those things can really happen. No,
it's
you're
like
right.
It's like the JFK thing. Like JFK stuff started getting released recently.
Oh yeah.
And it's like there has to be like 75 years before they can release this, and then you just say, "Oh well, the government was corrupt then." Blah 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 blah. But it's like, there's a lot
the
of
UFOs.
UFOs.
Now
crazy
UFOs.
shit.
Have been,
yeah. That's a 2020 thing, dude.
Yeah, UFOs.
But that's been what's it called? That's been slid on the carpet because it wasn't made a big deal.
Well, it's because unless there's a fucking Martian walking down here, beep beep boop, boop
right.
like shooting shit up.
Beep, beep, beep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, unless that's actually happening, like fear is a very widely like easy manipulative thing to do.
For sure.
Control a huge population by fear.
Dude, right now the shooting range is like I've never been to a shooting range, but my friends who go, they said, dude, the shooting range went from not being like no one being in there to like being filled, and the Cabela's, everyone's trying to get a gun.
Everyone's freaking out, dude.
It's crazy, and I mean, Second Amendment, right? Like you have the right to bear arms, but
right, especially in Arizona.
Arizona has the most lenient gun
Yeah.
laws. It is the Wild West, dude. It's cool like that, I guess, if you think that's cool, but it's fucking crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? This whole fucking thing is just a crazy, crazy year. And like, let's just say, and I'm not saying this is what it is, but let's just say it's because of an election year. Like this stuff is becoming like the government's manipulating it. What if November 10th or whenever the election is, the day after that, all this shit kind of just disappears? Like, do you think like what if that happened? And if that happened, we would have to look back at this podcast and go, holy fuck, like this is actually just a government engineered shit.
We'd be like the Simpsons, dude. We'd be
Dude, the
ridiculous.
Simpsons are fucking wild, dude.
Yeah, I know.
They're always pulling stuff up.
Yeah,
It's wild. I don't know. This is a crazy ass year, dude. It's crazy. Everyone's affected one way or another in this stuff. It's definitely it's just kind of sad, but
yeah,
that's life.
And last thing about the real estate though, I thought